The federal government is moving ahead with plans to boost border security. Today, the federal government announced more than $600 million to be spent over 5 years. This goes toward hiring 1,000 new border personnel, fulfilling one of their campaign promises. The funding also covers increasing pay for trainees and expanding early retirement eligibility. Canada's border security crackdown follows pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump, as Trump justified launching his trade war with Canada by saying Canada was weak on the border, in particular when it came to fentanyl. Gary Anandasangaree is the Minister of Public Safety, and he joins me now. Minister, good to see you again. Thank you for being here today, sir.
Great to be here.
Some of the measures we've heard today, we've been hearing about since like last November or December. So why are we only getting to a point that you can start implementing these measures now?
The major announcement today is the 1,000 new CBSA officers. It is not an announcement that's be implemented in months or years from now. It, in fact, will start right away. We are ready at Rego, where CBSA officers are trained. The president of the CBSA, Erin O'Gorman, is finalizing the plans. And starting early next week, we will be completing our recruitment and then starting training forthwith. This is about implementation. It's about ensuring that the 1,000 CBSA officers are deployed at the earliest juncture, and the work that we need to do to ensure that they're trained, and that's what we'll be doing. And this is another fulfillment of another promise that were made during the last campaign.
But at the same time, you're going to put the money in to expand the number of people working for Canada Border Services. You're also increasing eligibility for people to retire after 25 years. Without taking a hit on their pension. So are you running the risk of losing at one end while you add at the other end, that a lot of people may decide they want to cash out and the rate of the trainees coming in may not be enough to offset that?
Well, look, the ongoing recruitment of CBSA officers will continue. The 1,000 are an add-on to the regularized recruitment process that we have for CBSA officers. So while some individuals may take advantage and choose to retire early, I have had a chance to speak to the union about this, and they were quite concerned that they were one of the very few law enforcement agencies who didn't have that ability, and this is something that now they're able to do. I believe you can do both, David. We can recruit new CBSA officers to fill the 1,000 additional spots, but we can also continue to replenish the incredible people that may be retiring. Of note, on the recruitment side, you'll note that the stipend has gone from $125 to $525 a week for a 16-week training program. So it's significant because if somebody wants to be a CBSA officer, they do have to put a fair bit of their personal money on the table and go and get the training. And they don't get the stipend that they should be getting, and this is an additional part of the announcement that we made today.
Right. So this is money to help cover their expenses while they're doing the training, so they can then enter the workforce as a CBSA agent. But I wonder, Minister, do you have data on how many people might be eligible to leave the border service with this new pension threshold adjustment that you're making? And if you're going to train the 1,000, do you have the capacity in your training systems to make up for any shortfall that the early retirement might lead to?
The 25-year retirement, early retirement option, we have done some initial review. I can provide a deeper dive into it at a later point, David. I don't have that information offhand, but I can assure you that as we look at recruitment and deployment, there is an incredible amount of people who have stepped forward to be in these roles, and for us it's about extending the offer and ensuring that our training opportunities to do the training is available. Right now, Rego in Quebec is our primary training facility, and we have capacity there to increase additional training streams, and we will be doing that over the next coming weeks.
Okay, so of the 1,000 officers over the next 5 years, 80% will be uniformed officers. The delta of that, the other 20%, intelligence officers and serve other functions inside the CBSA. The Conservatives were criticizing this, saying that these are not all border security officers and it's not 1,000 uniformed officers going to protect points of entry. How do you respond to that critique?
Yeah, and I do want to clarify, David, that it is 1,000 uniform officers that will be deployed as part of the program. So this is, with respect to the RCMP, there was a distinction here. These are 1,000 CBSA officers who will be trained and who will be deployed at points of entry, border crossings, intelligence work, as well as enforcement. So I do want to clarify. I think they may have been a bit of a gap in the information, but make no mistake, these 1,000 individuals will add to the 10,000 or so people who are already in the front lines, ensuring our borders are safe and secure.
Okay, because I think, Minister, my colleagues were given some information that it was like an 80-20 split. And like, I'm not diminishing the value of an intelligence officer and people to deal with precursors for fentanyl and these things, but you're saying that's not, in fact, the case. It's not an 80-20 split. It's 100% uniformed to the points of entry.
That's correct. That's
okay.
correct.
All right. And so these other roles, though, that we mentioned, will there be a reorientation from within the existing force, or are those a second wave of staff enhancements that you're thinking of doing? How should we interpret that?
There are ongoing needs the CBSA has, and we've been able to meet it on a continuous basis. As an example, when we look at the points of entry, especially for goods, there have been increased surveillance. We have people who work at the National Targeting Center who do an incredible role, whether it be on issues around technology. We know that we have a number of very sophisticated technological systems that we have that again are staffed and not by uniformed officers, but right. Others with part of the organization. So we have a robust number of different non-uniformed tasks that need to be done, and we have the capacity to do that task. What is important here is that these 1,000 are deployed at the front lines to ensure that whether it's on enforcement, whether it's on ensuring that we target those who may be inadmissible to Canada. We ensure that goods, particularly fentanyl, coming across from different parts of the world. And as you know, I've rejected the notion that fentanyl is a problem going north to south. It is very much a shared issue that we have with the United States and fentanyl coming from other parts of the world. And this is work that we've been doing in that front.
Okay, in addition to these measures, which will roll out in the budget, you have two pieces of legislation, I believe, going through Parliament right now. The old C2 and now the new C12, because you've essentially split the border security bill that your government is pursuing into two. The ones that were left in C2, the ones that about warrantless access to service providers and other measures, why are you persisting on pursuing that as a government when you've seen the backlash and the concern from civil liberties groups and other legal groups saying that this is a bridge too far and a real intrusion by the government?
There are three elements that are part of C2 that are not being taken over on to C12. One is lawful access, one is with respect to the post office, and the third element is the $10,000 relating to money laundering. And let me just focus on lawful access, because that's an area where I've heard overwhelmingly from law enforcement and those who are working in the front lines against issues such as childhood sexual exploitation or other forms of harm, online harms, over the last 4.5 months I've been in this role. And I can tell you, David, this is one of the most difficult issues that I have come across, because I see the need. I see a real need for law enforcement to have tools that are available to ensure that they can access certain types of information, oftentimes with judicial oversight. Having said that, I've talked to civil liberties groups, I've talked to those who are working in the front lines, and what I will be doing over the next several weeks is to bringing all of them together, because I think there is a common, we can find common ground and ensure that we have the tools available for law enforcement while ensuring that civil liberties of individuals are protected. And it is a consensus that I want to be able to build amongst the parties, because it should not be this binary choice. I do believe you can do both. We can keep communities safe while ensuring individual liberties are also protected.
Okay, because even with the measures that were moved into C-12 that deal with restricting when someone can switch the style of their asylum claim and cracking down on immigrants and refugee claims, there's been criticism of that as rolling back migrant rights. So I know you're going to deal with these groups, but as you pursue these pieces of legislation, law enforcement may like it, civil liberties groups may not like it, but they don't vote in the House of Commons. Do you have a partner for this legislation right now? Because as close as you are to a majority, you're not one.
C12, for example, we do believe we will have broader support. Our expectation is the C12, the debate starts on Monday, that C12 go to committee and then to the Senate. And of course, we will be open to working with all parties and all senators to ensure that the bill is strengthened. But I do believe we will have broader support for C12 in relation to C2.
Okay. Minister, thank you for your time today. That's Gary Anandasangaree. He's the Minister of Public Safety. Thank you, sir.